Welcome back to 3 Sport and our mid-season review of the rally year so far. Well, the Parker NZ New Zealand Rally Championship got off to a bit of an unusual start this year, with round 1 being the Propecia Rally of New Zealand back in April. Now, it's a huge undertaking for the local drivers to start with the round of the WRC without doing a warm-up event. But with bonus points on offer at the end of each day, this is a rally which really rewards the drivers who can make it to the finish. Sean Summerfield has the action.
Fastest Kiwi on stage 1 at the end of Brooks, the day's 3rd stage. He held a narrow 5-second lead over Bourne.
120.
Reigning New Zealand champion Bruce Herbert looked like he didn't want to be there, and he almost wasn't. A bout of food poisoning nearly made him miss the start. But after a ropey first stage, the tummy settled. The 2002 winner found his rhythm to go second fastest on stage 2. The wonder kid of 2002, Richard Mason, carries high expectations into this year's race. And while not spectacular, the Propecia Scholarship winner was solid in the opening stages. The weather was proving to be the great leveller.
15, 5 left.
Kiwi Group N champ Chris West continued last year's form, leading the local production race. Strangely, stages 4 and 5 were running near perfect conditions. The morning rain had cleared and the roads were drying out, but it was like a middle-order collapse as the Kiwis' cars turned to custard.
18.
Richard Mason was the next to feel the pinch, losing his power steering.
Minus. 6 right minus, 20.
So just to recap, by stage 5's end we had broken hearts, sore hands, but at least no crook tummy. In fact, all Bruce Herbert had was a sore head. His battle with Jeff Argyle was turning into an absolute cracker.
120.
By the end of Paparoa Station, Argyle held the upper hand with a 15-second overall lead over Subaru. The day finished with a repeat of stages 1, 2, 3 and 5. Stumpy Holmes continued to improve after his slow start, making up time with a struggling Richard Mason. Bruce Herbert took honours on stage 9, the day's final, a repeat run through Paparoa Station, but he only just did it by 7/10 of a second. So at the end of day 1, Jeff Argyle holds an 18-second lead over Bruce Herbert. Richard Mason continues to slip further back, allowing Stumpy Holmes the perfect opportunity. He now lies just 17 behind him. Day 2 of Propecia Rally New Zealand started with a duel between Kiwi veterans Jeff Argyle and Bruce Herbert. They began Parahi Ararua with just 18 seconds between them. Argyle knew Herbert would attack on this stage, so he tried to lift the pace, but it backfired when he cooked his tyres, allowing Herbert to make up valuable time, finishing the 59 Ks in 36.06, 13 seconds quicker than Argyle. This meant the rest of the day was now a tantalising prospect with just 5 seconds between the old rivals.
We went out and tried to go fairly hard in the early part of the stage, and we just cooked our tyres, and we knew Bruce was going to pull up a little bit on us, but yeah, we're just going to have to go out there and try and battle again.
I'm so glad that Jeff's still going because he's obviously cooked and we've battled over a lot of years. It's a lot of fun.
A stage as long as Parahi Ararua is a true test of a driver's concentration, not to mention their patience. Stuck in the dust cloud of a slower car, Richard Mason was near boiling point.
6 right, 30, 4 left plus. Could this loser go any slower? 60.
After a spin and mechanical problems left him in 10th place at the end of day 1, Mark Tapper could have been forgiven for thinking nothing else could go wrong. The young gun overshooting and rolling down a bank.
I don't know, cocked it up basically, and this is the result.
Yeah, it's fairly bent. You think the boys will be able to keep you in the rally?
Yeah, it's still going straight. Everything's still working. bit of luck. We'll just keep going.
It might have been mobile, but the Mitsubishi's rear end looked to be crushed beyond repair. But in what would have to be one of the most incredible panel-beating efforts ever, the Rally Art team pulled, whacked and taped the car back into shape. The final touch was a new set of tyres and the car was back on the road, all inside 15 minutes. OK, so it wasn't quite like new, but he was back in the rally. We're on board the front bumper of Bruce Herbert's Impreza as he blasts through stage 11 Mitatai finish. Herbert was 7 seconds quicker than Jeff Argyle, enough to take the lead in the Kiwi race. But after trying to rush things on Parahi Ararua, this time Argyle wasn't going to panic, especially with just a 2-second deficit. With a clear road this time, Richard Mason was able to keep his own pace. He finished Mitatai just 4 seconds behind Argyle. Mason's position was further helped when the Group N leader and third place Kiwi Stumpy Holmes pulled out with a blown differential. Brian Stokes cemented his 4th spot in what was becoming a very small Kiwi contingent. It all looked very spectacular, but keeping up with Jeff Argyle on Toka Toka hadn't been easy for Herbert or his car. The Impreza had run out of puff, blowing its turbo.
Left plus and finish 50.
Fortunately, 40 seconds, I think. Yeah, lost some time servicing here, and there. Unfortunately, that's what's happened today.
So it was back to catch-up mode where Herbert took 2 seconds out of Argyle on Parahi. Stage 14 cancelled. The chase has to wait till tomorrow. Argyle now holds a 37-second lead over Herbert, with Richard Mason all alone in third, ahead of Malcolm Stewart and fellow veteran Brian Stokes. Chris West waving the flag for the Kiwi Group Ns. The battle for first Kiwi and top honours in the Parker NZ Championship was now a 2-horse race. Bruce Herbert started the day 37 seconds behind the Mitsubishi of Jeff Argyle. By the end of the second Tiako stage, the difference was now 29. But Argyle stayed cool under pressure. Despite a turbo problem, he drove smoothly all the way through the first 2 stages. Chris West is New Zealand's current Group N king, and his Subaru was proving as reliable as ever. He took maximum championship points out of his 6th place. So to the final 4 stages in Maramarua Forest, the spiritual home of rallying in Auckland. But it was to be 2 Palmerston North drivers who'd fight it out for first. Jeff Argyle and co-driver Steve Smith pushed all the way and could only hope it would be enough at the end. All morning, Bruce Herbert had been quicker, and in the first 2 stages through Maramarua, he took more time off Argyle. Herbert's drive over the last 2 stages through Fife was nothing short of spectacular. At every corner and every straight, he took time off Argyle. But in the end, it wasn't enough. Bruce Herbert's 50-second penalty had taken its toll. Jeff Argyle, the coveted first Kiwi home, taking maximum points in the Parker NZ New Zealand Championship.
Welcome back to 3 Sport, your home of rock and roll rally this weekend with the Hella Battery Town Rally of Rotorua, one of the hot spectator spots right here on the start of the mighty Mo2 stage, proudly brought to you with a good team from Cardlink One Car. Now, the Parker NZ New Zealand Rally Championship moved to the South Island for round 2 in Otago. Jeff Argyle and Bruce Herbert were expected to dominate the battle out in front, but the North Harbour driver Todd Borden had other ideas. He was forced out of Rally NZ with gearbox problems and was determined to force his way back into contention.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Todd Borden took no time in getting on the pace, second in special stage 1 and winning stage 2.
Right, kink over 8 crest and kinks 400. Just to keep left 80, 7 left, and 6 right. 8.
Absolute crest, 100. His closest rival was Richard Mason. He won stage 1, but was second to Borton on stage 2. Andrew Hawkswood didn't get past stage 2 on Rally New Zealand, so he was desperate for points. Going into the first service, he was third. As for Argyll and Herbert, well, both were left in the dust, wondering how they'd fallen so far behind. Stages 3 and 4 run along the northern edge of Beddock Forest, and the start of stage 3 would prove to be the undoing of the Subarus. While the Impreza is a nimble car on the tight, twisty stages and has far better traction, the Subaru was outpaced by the horsepower of the Mitsubishi Evo 5s and 6s. It proved to be a frustrations first for Bruce Herbert. His car was in 5th and 6th gear for near on 5 minutes of the stage, and he knew that time would be ticking away. In fact, he lost 19 seconds to Borden here. If the long 6th gear haul had to be hard on the Group A cars, it was worse for the production cars. Chris West couldn't get his car above 130 kilometres an hour.
7 left over small crest, 120.
But the production car engines are far closer 30. In power, and the Mitsubishi of Mark Tapper showed no dominance here, despite being desperate to make up time after a special stage 2 disaster. So after 4 special stages, Mason had extended his lead out to 6 seconds over Hot Toddy, with Andrew Hawkswood more than 31 seconds back in third, followed by Herbert, Argyll and Glenn Smith. Mason had a 6-second lead going into special stage 5, but a tiny hole in the rear brake caliper which spelled disaster
20 long 4 left minus King. Long 3 right, no brakes. Long 3 right then.
As he pushes on, the car becomes more difficult to control.
Long 4 right.
Finally and inevitably, the car understeers into a tree.
Long 4 right, minus.
But a damaged head gasket meant retirement from the day.
Tightens into a 2
With Mason dispatched to repair its engine overnight, Todd Borden inherited a healthy lead if he could just finish the stage. Also on a charge. He flies through the stage just 3 seconds behind Borden. He's second, 34 seconds down on overall time. So at the end of day 1, Todd Borden was in front by 38 seconds from Andrew Hawkswood second, with Bruce Herbert, the defending champ, in third place. Jeff Argyll, Glenn Smith, Chris West and Mike Turvis then made up the rest of the bunch. So as the cars returned to Dunedin under grey skies, it was Todd Borden who held the upper hand.
Just doing our best, and we always aim to win. I know I said this morning we want to come third, but we always want to win, so no, I'm happy.
3, 2, 1, go.
As far as the rally lead went, Borden started the day with a 38-second lead over Hawkswood. There were a total of 131 kilometres of special stages, so the calculation was simple.
3, 2, 1. Go. 50.
Hawkswood had to take about 0.3 per kilometre out of Borden to win the rally. Both drivers are well overdue a win in the championship, so the scene was set for a great battle. Hawkswood took first blood, winning stage 8 by 3 seconds over Borden. Herbert was looking to consolidate third place. His points for Rally New Zealand meant that putting himself ahead of Argyll was the main aim, and getting someone else in between them even better. But running first on the road, he overshot this corner and did well to pull the car back. Then, just a minute later, Herbert runs over an exhaust pipe left on the road from one of the classic competitors.
20 opens. 30, 5 right over small crest 30.
Jeff Argyll isn't making up any time on Herbert, but has a 1-minute lead over 5th place Glenn Smith. Andrew Hawkswood saw his top 3 finish vanish on stage 9. This half spin.
30. 5 right minus, tightens to 4 right minus into 4 left, 80. That's 4 right minus, right tightens.
And then 30. A rock inside a corner punctured his left front tyre, causing an anxious moment.
30 to 5 left minus opens.
So it seems holding back the timesheets from Todd Borden really has been doing the trick. He's very relaxed out in front, and why wouldn't you be with the lead of 1 minute and 20 seconds over the defending champion, Bruce Herbert. Jeff Argyle in third, followed by West, first of the production cars, and then Turfus. But Andrew Hawkswood now down to 6th place after those problems in the Akatori Forest.
Go. 50. 6 left.
Chris West had played it cool all rally to take first of the production cars. In the past, he's thrown away some good rally leads, but he kept a cool head and got the class win. And that was a fitting tribute to Possum and the team.
150.
Andrew Hawkswood saw a career best second disappear with a puncture, but 5th overall gave him 22 valuable points. And we reckon the best style around the streets. Boys just got to have fun.
50. 6 left, 80. This time.
An amazing 4th place for Mike Turfus, and he too had time to play. Jeff Argyle had been Mr. Steady all rally, and with his number 1 car back for Southland, still remains a big threat. But it's Bruce Herbert whose 2nd place has put him in the lead of the championship.
Go. 50, 6 left minus, 50.
This isn't Todd Borden's first rally win, but his dominance of these Otago rally roads was outstanding. He collected 41 points and has put himself back in contention for championship honours.
We hear some real bad luck international, and we knew we had a fast car, and I think we proved it today. 2 days racing, and we were a minute ahead of everyone else. So, it's a fantastic job. The guys did a good job, and Damon and I, we did an excellent job of doing our notes, and it makes a big difference. Hey, and it was tough, but it just was natural, and we were very happy.
So to round 3 Southland, the world's most southern rally. It started with a 10k sprint around Teretonga racetrack, and that was bad news for Andrew Hawkswood. He didn't have any tarmac tyres and lost 14 seconds. Then the first real test of the day, Pebbly Hills Forest, and it was a test too for both man and machine, because as they say down south, she's a hard road to find the perfect rally car, son.
3, 2, 1, go.
Todd Borden was fastest through the stage, just as he had been last year, pulling out an 8-second advantage over Bruce Herbert in a stage which should have been better suited to the Subaru's nimble handling.
300.
Herbert's choice of mud tyre was perfect for the soft conditions. He had plenty of traction, but not enough speed. Andrew Hawkswood was putting behind his 14th place disaster on special stage 1 and using all the road to charge into 3rd position. The stage time just 10 seconds off Borden. Richard Mason's tyres didn't suit the conditions, and a leaking exhaust manifold was robbing the car of power. He slipped his way back to 5th, just ahead of Jeff Argyle, who was having fuel pressure problems, and had the production car of Mark Tapper just 2 seconds away. So out of Pebbly Hills to the open farmland opposite, and Herbert had the Impreza scattering the sheep like a Texas tornado. Last year, the stage was flooded and slow, but this year, the cars were flat out through here and getting lots of air over the bridge just beyond our camera. The problem with getting air is that you can't brake, as Todd Borden was about to discover.
300.
After all that, Borden lost time and was only 4th fastest on the stage, but still held the rally lead. It was Richard Mason who won the stage. His tyres, not suitable for the forest, were much better through the public road, and he took advantage of that to gain 6 seconds over Herbert. So back to Invercargill for service, and Borden has the rally lead with 26 seconds over Herbert, 19 back to Hawkswood in 3rd, with Mason 12 back in 4th place. Chris West has just got a 10-second lead in the production cars, back in 7th overall, just ahead of the Mitzi of Mark Gibbett, plenty of Tapper. Emma Gilmore rounding out the top 12 in her much older Evo 3 Mitzi. Day 2, and ahead of them the crews faced 120 kilometres of special stages to the west of Invercargill with service park at Tuatapere. Rain was forecast, but the morning dawns clear and dry.
4, 3, 2, 1, go. 200.
The fine weather may have seemed like a blessing, but most of the top crews had chosen a tyre more suited to the rain. And with no allowance to change tyres before the start, all the top crews were caught out. However, at the front of the field, it was business as usual. Todd Borden putting the acid on the competition by winning the first stage, special stage 5, and then being second fastest through the short loop of stage 6 at Taringatura.
And 5 right 100.
2 more stages before another service, the first McInerney Road, an old favourite, which has been part of the Southland Rally for over a decade, and it's a beauty with flowing crests, cambered corners, as you see here on board with Todd Borden.
4 left. Over small crest. 60, long 6 crest. And 5 left minus.
Wow, let's check that out again. 3 sheep running at his car. Luckily, there's no damage, and he makes it back to the end of the stage. Tapper put in a flyer to be the 4th fastest on the stage, and more importantly, clawed 8 seconds back on Chris West.
4 right minus.
But it was to be stage 9, Rowellan, which would be the turning point of the rally. For Chris West, it started before the stage, when he stopped to repair damage from clipping a post at the end of special stage 8. Then ended up taking a wrong turn and arriving back at Tuatapere before finally finding the stage start and incurring a 30-second penalty, effectively losing the production car lead. Being first car on the road may have disadvantaged Bruce Herbert throughout the day, and he was obviously frustrated with his position, which may have led to rolling just out of the view of our cameras. Amazingly, the car was back on its wheels and out of the stage, losing only 1 minute and 30 seconds, but with plenty of work for the crew at Tuatapere. Richard Mason was quick to pounce, taking another stage win from Borden. But Borden had done the hard work at the beginning of the day. With a lead of 34 seconds at the start of the stage, he had pressured Herbert into a mistake and was now 1 minute and 15 in front of Hawkswood.
And 6 right, timing to 3 right in junction.
It was Hawkswood who was under all the pressure. Despite inheriting second place, a couple of spins dropped him down to within the clutches of Mason. Smith was also having a few moments and should probably thank the level-headed experience of co-driver Colin Smith for getting out of this one.
No, power. 4 left plus long and 80. Just make sure I get this right.
Chris West put aside the previous stage problems and put in a solid time, 5th fastest. But his battle with Mark Tapper was to be short-lived. Tapper had charged through the stage and was looking to extend his production class lead when this happened.
Reverser. Oh, reverser. Hey! Hey!
So a reshuffle in the top 6, with Hawkswood being the biggest benefactor, and in the top 12, Damon Templeman likewise came out the best from the reshuffle caused by Tapper's mishap. Chris West won the production class and finished in 6th place, but the drama continued, this time with a puncture. Jeff Argyle had problems right till the end. Here, with 2 stages to go, he had to replumb a fuel pump and finally found the fuel pressure problem which had dogged him all rally long. But those points from the first 2 rounds means he's still in contention for another New Zealand title this year. Bruce Herbert may have failed to close the gap on Borden during the rally, and both car and the driver's ego were dented after the roll. But 4th place and 20 championship points keeps him at the head of the championship table. The battle for second had been raging since the lunch break and was only settled on the final stage. Hawkswood had lost the place on the penultimate stage, but with just 11 seconds in it, he put on a huge charge of the final stage, beating Richard Mason on the stage, but it wasn't enough. The 2002 Junior Rally champion had kept it clean to claim second place and take the valuable 27 championship points. But no one could touch Todd Borden this weekend. He had won 5 stages to Mason's 6, but had pulled time on the field where it counted.
Into long 3 right, 60.
The pressure on the opposition had told, and he was left a clear winner for the 2nd rally in a row. Yes, a dominant performance by Borden, but Richard Mason pulled out all the stops to take second by 6 seconds from Andrew Hawkswood in 3rd. Chris West in 6th takes another production class win. And a great result by Dean Buist, 10th place, first 2-wheel drive, and beating Dermot Martin for the Mainland Series win by 15 seconds. So Bruce Herbert has taken the lead in the championship, and stick around, team, because coming up after the break we've got highlights from day 1 of the Hella Battery Town Rally of Rotorua. It's the Mighty Motu. The spectacular East Coast welcomed a field of 41 drivers for the Hella Battery Town International Rally of Rotorua. Leg 1, 4 stages totalling 104 kilometres, with the Mighty Motu split into 2, followed by Whakarau and the fast finish at Rokaroa. The man to watch, the 4-time defending champion, Bruce Herbert, who's got a mortgage on this event.
I don't particularly know why we go so well in this rally. We've done so in the past, and hopefully we can do it again.
You have been under pressure all season, though, haven't you?
Yeah, it's been a hard old year so far, and haven't quite managed to pull one off yet, so I'd love to do it this weekend.
First on the road, defending Asia Pacific Rally champion Karamjit Singh from Malaysia, also the current World Production Car champion, and a car he borrowed from New Zealand and Rhys Jones. But all eyes were on Bruce Herbert.
3, 2, 1, go. Long 4 left, 30. 5 right minus, 100.
The Palmerston North pair of Bruce Herbert and co-driver Rob Ryan have developed into a smooth, fast combination. Stage 1, Motu 1. Fast and open at the bottom before it tightens at the top. The key for Herbert, he's been under pressure all year in the Parker NZ New Zealand Rally Championship, but for this event he's got a new engine in the Subaru, lots of power, and it showed right from the start. He finished as the fastest Kiwi over the Mighty Motu. Only 3 points behind in the New Zealand Championship is arch rival, also from Palmerston North, Jeff Argyle in the Evo 6.5. Through Motu 2, Herbert knew he had to make the most of the Subaru's advantage through the tight, twisty stages. And it was a double banger for Argyle, who was also currently running second in the Asia Pacific Rally Championship.
6 right over crease, keep in 40, 5 left, keep in, kinks 100.
Masterton's Richard Mason is the young gun of the Kiwi rally scene. He was third fastest through the Motu, just a few seconds behind Herbert, but on stage 3 he dropped a minute with turbo problems. The northern man, Todd Borden's become the southern man after winning both Otago and Southland. But sadly for the man in the black Mitzi, it all went wrong for him on stage 3, just like last year.
Right minus, into a short 3 left, into a 4 right minus.
Not again. Just to get out, damn it. Oh, we thought we had did a good job of our notes, but I think I just had a bump and threw us out on a 3 left and just got wide, and it's just life, mate. But hey, press on. That's what you get when you try and go too quick.
As they say, that's motor racing. Surprise package in day 1, the Japanese driver Fumio Nutahara. He chose skinny mud tyres that no one else thought would last, but it did the trick for him, leading after Motu 1 and 2. But Jeff Argyle made a huge move on stage 4 Rotorua. He was 12 seconds quicker than Herbert to grab the lead, hitting speeds of 215 kilometres an hour. He would finish day 1 just 1.8 seconds in front of his arch rival Herbert, who was now only 2 points in front of the championship. The battle had begun. Don't forget to join us for full highlights from the Hella Battery Town Rally of Rotorua, 3 o'clock next Sunday, and that's right before the big game, the battle between the Box and the All Blacks from Pretoria. And by the way, if you can't wait till next Sunday to see if the defending champion Bruce Herbert and his co-driver Robert Ryan have held on to their title here in Rotorua, stick around, team. We'll have full details coming up on 3 News with Super Sports Sunday. On behalf of the team, I'm Clint Brown. Thanks for joining us. Good evening.
2 hours of rally and rugby here on 3. Coming up at 3:30, Clint Brown presents the first match in the All Blacks Tri-Nation campaign from South Africa. But first up, it's Rally Rotorua, round 4 of the Parker NZ New Zealand Rally Championship. Well, last Sunday, we brought you the highlights of day 1 of the 3-day event. And what a way to kick things off. 4 hard-out stages, including the daddy of them all, the mighty Motu.
4 right plus 30, long 1 left in junction onto bridge.
Defending New Zealand Rally champion Bruce Herbert got off to a good start. Fastest Kiwi on stage 1 and showing straight up his intention to fight for the lead after struggling to find a good pace in the South Island. But it was Japan's Fumio Notahara who surprised everyone by winning stage 1 and leading at the end of Motu 2. Chris West was the first casualty, with his production class Subaru hold a radiator here at the Motu Ford. Todd Border was fired up after winning the 2 South Island rounds. But on stage 3 it all went wrong, just as in 2002.
Into a short 3 left. Into a 4 right minus. Not again.
Jason West crashed out of the Kiwi front-wheel drive class. In fact, most of the Kiwi class failed to reach the first service at Matawai. Richard Mason was the fastest New Zealander on stage 2, but lost 45 seconds here on stage 3 with turbo problems. But it was Jeff Argyle who took the lead at the end of the day with a storming drive through stage 4 Rotorua. 219 k's an hour here to lead by 1.8 seconds at the break.
So once again, the Kiwi drivers showing the way to the Asia Pacific contenders and the prospect of a real battle between the 2 New Zealand champions. Argyle just 1.8 seconds in front of Bruce Herbert as they headed towards Kawerau for the start of day 2.
A stunning winter's morning in the bay for day 2 of the Hella Battery Town Rally of Rotorua. 6 stages and 105 k's faced the drivers, including the classic Stage 6 Manawahei and Stage 9 Pylon in the Kaingaroa Forest.
So how do you feel like going into day 2 or 2 seconds in front?
Oh, reasonably confident. I think Bruce will probably pull a bit on us through that Manawahei because it's a bit tighter and looser. The Subaru will like that better, but once we get in the forest, I'm sure we can pull out again.
Great championship, you know. This is what we need. We've sort of run away with it a bit in the past at times, and certainly not happening this really. The car had a rear wheel alignment problem yesterday, and I think we've got it right now, so we should just be a little bit quicker.
Stage 5 Rotoitu Forest is narrow in places, but with some very fast straights. Jeff Argyle threw down the challenge and extended his lead to 6.5 seconds.
Go.
Herbert was expecting to lose that time here, but knew he'd be faster at Manawahei the next stage. It was to be a battle of tactics from the very start and looked like being the closest battle for the lead since these 2 traded times at round 1, the Rapisha Rally New Zealand. But it was Manukau driver Andrew Hawkswood who won the stage, and he needed to. Like Argyle, he has also entered in the Asia Pacific Champs, and on day 1 had fallen behind the leaders. Richard Mason was 4th Kiwi, nearly a minute ahead of Taranaki's Glenn Smith, who's yet to finish a rally in the championship this year. So to Manawahei and Helicopter Corner, named because a chopper once crashed there on Rally New Zealand. This is a mecca for rally fans, and the pilgrims were here in their thousands. Herbert was true to his word and took the stage win and the rally lead, here putting his champion Subaru perfectly through the corner.
But up the road, Argyle was struggling. After such a great run, his turbo had expired.
Sorry, Steve.
Smoking.
Yeah, he's got nothing, that's it.
He pulled over to try to reduce the oil loss, but 18 precious minutes were lost. Andrew Hawksworth needed no second invitation to take up the Mitsubishi mantle. He was now just 1 second behind Herbert through the stage and in third overall behind the Asia Pacific leader Natahara. And he gave the Pilgrims what they came for. Richard Mason too saw his chance. These drivers would all have seen the smoke and passed Argyle on the stage, which only spurred them on. Glenn Smith might not be in the same league as the top three yet, but he knows that he has to deliver a top 5 result to make an impression on the championship. He's fourth Kiwi here with only the production cars behind him, so it was looking good. Chris West re-entered the rally today to fight for the bonus points. Now, if only his engine can hold together after overheating on day 1. Argyle finally crawled into helicopter corner but was still only halfway through the stage, and despite blocking the turbo oil pipe off, he was still leaving a smoke trail that James Bond would be proud of. But it spelled trouble for Mark Tapper, who was behind on the road. Mark not too keen to charge hard through the smoke after running into the back of another competitor in the dust in round 1.
50, 3 right, to long, 4 right, and 1 left. Oh, this is ridiculous. To 1 left up here.
Luckily, his closest rival, Dainham Templeman, had chosen the wrong tyres for the conditions and lost even more time. So to the overall rally results after stage 6, and Bruce Herbert's in the lead by 46 seconds, ahead of Asia Pacific leader Natahara, with Andrew Hawksworth second in both the Asia Pacific and New Zealand classes.
Yeah, we'll put a turbo on it and then put some oil on it and start off and see if it's got oil pressure. Just take it easy through the next turn, just make sure it doesn't rattle. If it rattles, we'll just go on the side of the road.
No worries for Bruce Herbert, who'd come out of Manawahei unscathed and with a healthy lead.
Yeah, that was always going to be a really telling stage. It was really sad to see Jeff go out in that manner. He's still here in the rally but lost a lot of time. We were just having a huge battle. Whether I could have actually got him or not, I don't know. He'd taken 4 out of us in the stage before, and that Manawahei was going to be a Subaru stage, I reckon.
80 and 5 right.
Stay with us on 3 as the action gets wild on the Hulla Battery Town Rally Rotorua. After service break at Kawerau, the fans and the cars headed into the forest to the south of the mill town. Andrew Hawksworth was on fire and giving them plenty to cheer for.
4 left, 80. 4 left, 80 and 5 right.
But pushing a bit too hard here on stage 8, he clipped a bank. The result was 2 flat tyres, which slowed him considerably. That was enough for Richard Mason to take second New Zealand position. Jeff Argyle had a long fight back, but the car was okay and he won stage 8.
Go.
But Bruce Herbert's consistent speed through the forest was pushing out his lead. By the end of stage 8, he'd stretched it till 1 minute and 3 seconds.
Very long 4 left plus open, 150.
With Chris West only competing for bonus points, Mark Tapper was the leader in the New Zealand production class, but his tyres weren't the best on this pumice-based road.
7 left and 150.
Damon Templeman started to make inroads into Tapper's lead on stage 8 when he gained 4 seconds and beat him on a stage for the first time this year. Leading rookie Dean Sumner had a frustrating stage though when he punctured on this corner. John Giltrap was still second in the points battle with Chris West, but he was only 7th place New Zealand production car, so wasn't likely to score any points here. Good news then for Rex Visible, who after a shaky start to the season was desperate to get into the production car battle. All this was good news for Chris West, who was looking likely to take out the production class title at the end of the rally. But he had to remain the fastest in class each day and get the maximum bonus points. Emma Gilmore had withdrawn with a broken wheel on day 1, but despite this spin, she was still the fastest woman on the Rotorua roads. So Bruce Herbert out to a 1 minute 3 second lead, but Mason was also ahead of Hawkswood by 11 seconds. Hawkswood limped into service on his rim, but at least he was still in the rally.
Yeah, unfortunately we ran wide on a corner and clipped the bank and got 2 punches, so yeah, we dropped a bit of time for the leaders, unfortunately.
You're still only 10 seconds behind Richard Mason, so you'll be able to catch that up?
Well, I don't know. We'll try our hardest.
But Damon Templeman was pleased with his newfound form.
We sort of got a little bit too clever with ourselves this morning and put softs on, and everyone told us as we're driving out they go up after 10 Ks, and they were absolutely right. So we sort of backed our way through the field through those stages, but we got the tyres right for those last 2 stages, and I think in the last stage we were quickest New Zealand Group N, so that's a real boost for confidence.
The rally now just had 2 more stages before the overnight break. The first was stage 9, Pylon, then a short blast through the rough road at Troutbeck. Argyle was still charging, although hopelessly behind the leaders. He needed to pass as many Asia-Pacific competitors as possible.
4 left.
With 2 punctures on the previous stage, Andrew Hawkswood would have been lucky not to damage his diffs, but it soon becomes obvious that something is very wrong with the car.
Junction into long 5 right opens. 80.
By the end of stage 10, he'd lost around 20 seconds to Mason, and the team would have to change the rear differential in the service. But Mason wasn't unscathed. His head gasket was leaking and the car was beginning to overheat. Absolutely no problems for Herbert though. He was unchallenged as the field headed back to Rotorua.
4 right plus 50. Very long 4 left. 5 right minus.
Production class, however, was in disarray. First of all, Tapper punctured on stage 9.
Long 7 right minus over crest, tightens to 6. 100 to 1 right in junction. We've got one, we should change it down here, mate. Huh?
But with no moose system like in the WRC, they had to stop and change the tyre. But to make things worse, the car's jack was faulty, so they lost 4.5 minutes. Great news for Templeman. Well, no, he punctured 2 and lost 3 minutes. So the only man on top in the production cars was Chris West, who was now just 2 points away from claiming the title. Dean Sumner was back on track in the ITM Lancer to lead the rest of the production cars, just ahead of the Evo 8 of Grant Barber, having his best outing yet in the new car. And Rex visible in the TractorsNZ.com Subaru.
No change at the top then for Bruce Herbert, but Richard Mason opening up a lead on Andrew Hawkswood. Glenn Smith was still 4th Kiwi and 7th overall, and Brian Stokes having a good battle in the non-championship stakes with Lewis Scott. An extra long service at the end of the day to repair the cars before the final Day 3 stages. And a chance for us to catch up with the AE Auto Electricians Rally Ambassador, Bull Allen.
Well, they may look similar from the outside, but one of the main differences between a rally car and a road car is the fuel system. Most of the difference is here in the boot, where the old metal tank is ripped out and replaced by a fuel cell or bladder. The main reason for this is safety, to stop the tank from rupturing if there's an accident. For extra safety, the tank is filled with foam, which has the added bonus of stopping fuel surge under high Gs. Throw in high volume pumping systems, racing fuel. They won't be setting any economy records, but man, they'll get there fast.
Welcome back to the Hulla Battery Town Rally Rotorua, which doubles as a round of the Asia Pacific Rally Championship, attracting drivers and teams from Australia, Asia, Europe and of course New Zealand. Running in the Rotorua Clubman's Rally field was Sarah Randall, the only Kiwi two-wheel drive class finisher. Sarah takes maximum points in 2nd place in that championship. Marty Rostenberg scored a record 7th win in the Clubman's Rally and leads the top half rally series. Leg 3 is 5 stages over 66 k's, starting with the Waitapu Forest in the geothermal area to the south of Rotorua.
1, go. Long 4 right plus, tightens, 750.
Bruce Herbert had a 1-minute 23-second lead, but attacked the road the only way he knows, full speed.
4 right over junction, long 3 right.
Go, 80, long 4 right plus tightens, 500.
But the real battle, assuming Herbert had no problems, was for 2nd place, and Andrew Hawkswood was fired up to take no prisoners.
Small crest 80, 4 left tightens 30, and 5 right.
Going into the stage, he was 28 seconds behind Richard Mason. By the stage end, he was 32 seconds in front, and knocking at the door of 3rd place, Fumio Nutahara. Remember that Hawkswood is also an Asia Pacific competitor, so every position counts. But Mason's head gasket had cried enough, and the Masterton driver was just nursing the Evo 5 home, hoping that he wouldn't break down like in 2002.
Into long 3 right. Watch the bumps, maybe. 30. 5 left plus.
Production car leader Mark Tapper also had problems. A strange electrical fault causing the car to cut out.
Cutting out every time we go real slow.
Yeah.
Well, the answer was obvious. Just go fast. Chris West once again got maximum bonus points for the day, and despite not being classed as a rally finisher after his DNF on day 1, he would leave Rotorua as New Zealand production car champion. The perfect weather continued and the crowds turned out in force to watch the cars come home over the final 4 stages. Jeff Argyle brought the Parker NZ Mitsubishi Evo 6.5 into 11th place for the New Zealanders, knowing that without the turbo problems the rally win could have been his. 10th place Parker NZ Championship car and a good result at last for the Evo 8 of Grant Barber. Brian Green had entered the championship to help co-driver Fleur Pedersen score points in the co-drivers championship. They finished 9th in the New Zealand race. Dean Sumner was the top rookie and in 8th place, the highest placed Rotorua driver. Rex Visible was 7th, but also 3rd in the New Zealand production cars, his first podium finish. An off-roader turned circuit racer turned rally driver, Dainham Teppelman, had a great rally. 6th Kiwi, 2nd production class. It's been a tough 2 seasons since he moved to the dirt, but the time and effort is finally paying off. You couldn't say that Mark Tapper's rally career has had many lucky moments so far. Crashes and off-road excursions, mechanical woes as well, have marred his season. But he came here determined to put that aside and get a result. He was the first New Zealand production car. That couldn't have been a better award. And the same goes for Glenn Smith, always in the top 5 but often out before the rally end. This time he came home and was 4th Kiwi. Finally some championship points to show for his season. Richard Mason nursed his ailing Evo 5 home and scored 3rd place Kiwi. Andrew Hawkswood never gave up and fought on to the end of the rally. Using every ounce of talent, he got the Evo 6.5 Lancer flying, despite also having overheating problems. He was never going to beat Herbert, but got to within 21 seconds of the Asia-Pacific cars of Notahara and Singh.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty stoked about it. I mean, you know, we had our ups and downs all rally, and, you know, if it wasn't for those couple of punches, we might have been a lot further up, but it's just the way it goes.
Amazingly, Karamjit Singh and Fubio Notahara tied in 2nd place, but Notahara was given the Asia-Pacific rally win because of his lead on day 1. But no one could stop Bruce Herbert in the Dynalink Subaru's record-breaking rally performance. Five-times Rally Rotorua winner. The win enough to award co-driver Rob Ryan the New Zealand Co-Drivers Championship for a 5th year. And Herbert looks likely to take out a record 4th Drivers Championship at Hawke's Bay next month.
Bruce, you finally made it 5 in a row.
Unbelievable, yeah, just a dream.
So as far as the championship is concerned, you've just about wrapped that up as well.
No, we've still got to go to Hawke's Bay. Like, as long as Jeff gets out of here, we've got to get to Hawke's Bay, get some points again. So, like, it's championship's never easy, and it's not over until the end of that.
All right, Bruce, congratulations.
Hey, thank you, just great.
Yes, in the Parker NZ New Zealand Championship, Bruce Herbert over 2 minutes in front of Andrew Hawkswood. A good result too for Richard Mason, and a hard-fought battle for the production class amongst 2 talented young drivers, Tapper and Templeman. And Jeff Argyle at least taking some points from the rally, but he'd leave Rotorua pretty disappointed.
So congratulations to Chris West, our 2003 production car champion, and Rob Bryan, 5 times champion co-driver. But Bruce Herbert still has to finish the final round in Hawke's Bay on August 16 before he can celebrate 4 remarkable years as New Zealand champion.